Well, one thing's for sure, there's never a dull moment working at Iceland.
My name's Malcolm Walker. I founded Iceland, so I know a thing or two about frozen food. This documentary that we've put together has only been possible because just 2 or 3 years after we started, we saved everything. Now able to dip into that archive and piece together the history of Iceland. "2020 has been a year like no other with the impact of coronavirus. But in June this year, we finally got Iceland back into family ownership.
I'm very proud of the resilience of Iceland and the hard work of the people who make the company.
COVID hit us, so sales went off the clock, and then I'd eat out to help out or whatever it's called. Sales dropped down again, and then we've had another lockdown, but we've continued to work through that. And I believe that the shape we're in now, once we come out in spring, I think we're in for a good time.
Tarzan and myself bought the company. We've finally got it back into family hands with me and Malcolm being shareholders.
It's been a real swashbuckling tale, against the odds really, over 50 years.
You want to be partners with people that you absolutely respect and absolutely trust. And with Malcolm, I'm there. And whether he thinks the same thing about me, I don't know.
Some people may have thought we'd be sellers of the business, but quite the opposite. We've ended up securing it in the family's hands for hopefully the next 50 years and beyond.
It's quite ironic really, because when I first started, I had half the company and my partner Peter Hinchcliffe had half. And since then, my share of the business has only gone down. Of course, when I was booted out in 2001, I had no shares in the business. The careers teacher suggested I go into retail, so I applied to all the retailers, Marks and Spencer's, Littlewoods, and I got rejected by all of them. So I went to Woolies, because Woolies would take anybody. They didn't have a proper training programme. The way they did it was anybody could join, and you started in a brown overall in the stockroom, sweeping the floor, and worked your way up till you became chairman.
I didn't really progress very well, and it took me 7 years to get to be assistant manager in Wrexham, and that's where I met Peter Hinchcliffe.
We've already paid for
Yeah,
another one.
yeah, right, there you are, okay. This is retailing, this is really what retailing is. Back to basics.
Peter and myself started off selling strawberries on the Horseshoe Pass in North Wales. That was our first venture together. And of course it was quite important because we sold the strawberries for a laugh really, but afterwards we said, right, what shall we do next? And next was Iceland. We wanted to open a shop. Our first shop was in Oswestry. We got the shop before we knew what we were going to sell. I'd seen in a department store in Leeds, it was called Lewis's. In the food department they got an open freezer with plastic washing up bowls, and that tipped into their bulk vegetables that were obviously meant for the catering trade, and they were selling them by the scoopful. And we thought, that's a great idea. So we're sitting in Peter Hinchcliffe's flat with his girlfriend and my wife Rhiannon, and we're saying, right, what shall we call this shop? Is it Walker and Hinchcliffe or whatever? So my wife Rhiannon says, what about Iceland? And we said, that's great, Iceland. No, we'll never get away with that because you've got to register it at company's house. So we sent off the registration form, and instead of putting Iceland, the name of the country, we put Ice-Land, thinking we might just get away with that. And when the form came back, they'd just given us Iceland.
The only money we ever actually put into the kitty was £30 each. That's £60 was the first month's rent. We bought 2 freezers on hire purchase, a till and a scale on hire purchase. Woolies found out what we were up to by December, and in January we got fired.
So when we set up on our own, we decided we wanted to be like Marks and Spencer's. And during the first few years of our business, we'd often refer to Marks and Spencer's, not talking about the company, but talking about the way of doing things. In other words, do it right, do it properly, do it to last. So a few years later, when we came to buy lorries, we'd buy Mercedes instead of Ford. When we're fitting out the stores, we put a terrazzo floor in, which will last for 50 years instead of a plastic floor. And it was that philosophy about we're running the business for tomorrow, not for today. The first time I went to America, one of our suppliers, Coleman's Meats, two guys, Alan Birchall and John Murphy, who supplied us, and we became great friends. And they couldn't believe we'd never been to America. And they said, your retail education isn't complete without going to America and seeing how they do it there. It was an experience. I think we stayed at the Marriott Hotel, and this was really posh. And I'd never stayed in such a posh hotel. And you go into the bedroom at night, you know, and there's the chocolate on the pillow, and you think, oh, well, that is amazing, you know. Nothing like that going on in England. But in the ashtray on the coffee table was a book of matches, Marriott Hotel, with their slogan, "We do it right." And you thought, we do it right, we do. So I took that book of matches and that became our slogan, we do it right. Back to Marks and Spencer's. So instead of saying Marks and Spencer's meaning a way of doing things, it just became, we do it right. So after we'd got about 6 shops, we wanted a central warehouse. Underneath that sign, we had a cash and carry there, head office behind it, and behind that roller shutter, that was our warehouse. We had to try and get our articulated lorries down here, and the compressor on the lorries used to drive all these people bonkers, the noise running overnight. So we had to pay for them all to have double glazing on the back windows. And we moved straight from here then to Deeside.
You're spoiled for choice at Iceland. Welcome to Iceland, where the craft burger and sausage roll bonanza is in full swing. 20 sausage rolls only £1.21. 20 craft hamburgers only £1.84. You really are spoiled for choice at Iceland. Iceland.
It's constant evolution. So we built up a chain of about 20 odd loose frozen food shops. And they were profitable and they did very well. But very gradually, the shops got a little bit bigger, and then we put a chest freezer in there with a few packeted products. So very gradually, the sales mix changed, until one day we took this shop in the Arndale Centre in Stretford near Manchester, and I was desperate to get this shop because it was an old Woolworths, and there was a sort of certain victory about taking this empty unit, but it was really big.
In fact, it was the week I came to the company, we were opening our first freezer centre in Stretford. I remember back fondly, I thought it was just a massive shop. I mean, looking at it now, I think it was about 3,000 square feet, but at the time I thought it was a whacker.
And we decided we'll open this shop without loose frozen food. And we just thought if the model can change a bit and we can open the shop without loose frozen food, it'd be cheaper to run, more self-service. And anyway, we did, and it was a real gamble, and it worked. We realised then we were in a different business. Instead of selling 4 ounces of peas, we were selling big packs. We'd become a freezer centre. And then gradually our customer had evolved where they'd maybe have a chest freezer in the garage and they'd buy big packs and big boxes from us. And we got to selling half lamb packs. It was a completely different model. Ready meals came into play. More and more housewives went to work. Marks and Spencer's was selling their chilled ready meals. We were selling frozen ready meals at half the price. And gradually the half lamb packs and the giant boxes disappeared. People didn't have the chest freezer in the garage, they had a fridge freezer in the kitchen. And then the ice box got smaller and smaller. And we almost became a ready meal shop. So it changed again.
For frozen food, choice and value, discover the difference at Iceland.
Business was booming, and in 1984 we decided to float the business on the stock exchange with spectacular success.
We were oversubscribed 113 times. I mean, and it was massive. In those days, all the subscription for shares used to come in on a piece of paper. And I remember going to a stockbroker's office, and there was piles and piles and piles of these all over the floor. I mean, literally thousands of applications. And I remember the day that the flotation came about, on the first day we were listed, the share price just rocketed. I mean, I can't remember, but I think it doubled, and everybody was like blown away. And of course, the company lived up to it.
I started in Iceland on the 1st of April 1985, which is about a year after Iceland floated.
He's been here forever. He joined in short trousers and he's grown up in the business and he knows every aspect of it.
I started as a trainee accountant, and the plan was to qualify as an accountant and then bugger off. Because who wants to work for a frozen food retailer? It's not particularly exciting. But something just got in my blood. I just loved the business, the way it operated, the way it was. It had its own personality, which was hard to describe.
Discover all the nice things about Iceland. Discover all the choice throughout the store.
Discover the difference in choice and value at Iceland. Just look at these examples for real value for money. New Zealand lamb chops only 99 pence a pound. 20 Bird's Eye original beef burgers $2.79. Iceland corn on the cob 4 pieces 99 pence.
Discover what's so nice. Discover what's so...
Throughout the 80s we went from strength to strength. We refreshed our look with a new Terence Conran designed logo. We opened new stores. We took over smaller competitors.
They then went on to map out an ambitious future plan, which would see us with 1,000 stores by the year 2000.
This is Mansfield, one of the newly acquired Fulham frozen food stores.
So although our growth was mainly organic, along the way we did mop up a lot of our competitors.
And have you ever actually been in one of our stores before?
No, never. Never known where they were, really, apart from I thought they were all up north, but I've learned that they're not, and they're everywhere.
And expanded our distribution and built a market-leading cold store.
What we've introduced into Iceland is one of the most advanced cold stores in the world, in actual fact.
Opened in 1987 by the Prince of Wales.
This year's Christmas will be a bit different. Special trimmings with the turkey, Paul's favourite pavlova, new chocolate bonbons.
Hey, Daddy, ice cream!
Right, just look at all that. And Rachel, white chocolate gatto. That's why Mum's gone to Iceland.
From hundreds of freezer centre companies around at the time, there ended up being just 2 left, Iceland and BJam. They were 2.5 times larger than Iceland and were concentrated in the south. We decided to take them over. After giving it some thought.
Frankly, we don't need them.
And after a drawn-out process over a couple of months, we got 51%, actually 50.09% of the shares we needed to take them over, and BJam joined the Iceland family.
We'd like to especially welcome all the BJam staff to Iceland.
And BJam very quickly became part of Iceland, and the company just kept growing.
I was unemployed before I come here, so it's a great job, really. It's dead friendly with the customers and it's good training, so it helped us a lot.
Iceland comes of age on its 21st birthday and celebrates in style. It started with the Secretary of State for Wales, David Hunt, being invited to formally open the new head office extension. November the 18th, 1991, exactly 21 years to the day that Iceland first opened for business. And to mark the occasion, the residents of Oswestry were given a special offer. A special chicken, chips, peas and ice cream dinner, all at 1970 prices.
Her Royal Highness Princess Anne arrived a little behind schedule and was greeted by Chairman Malcolm Walker, local dignitaries and fellow Iceland board members. She then unveiled a plaque commemorating both her visit and the opening of Iceland's 500th store. The Princess Royal had a chance to see Iceland's retail operation at first hand.
We've opened over 100 new stores this year, over 60 standalone Iceland stores. At one point we were opening Littlewoods food halls at the rate of 2 a week. Darzim's our new finance director.
Yes.
Been with the company 12 years, recently promoted, and all accountants are pessimistic people.
We are, that's our job. We're paid to be pessimistic, I'm afraid.
I'd rather be in the position that we're in now with fantastic sales, even if profits are a bit of a struggle. But we do keep getting into trouble though.
Back in 1996 we had a big dip in our profits, and as a PLC it was very visible.
Iceland was running out of steam.
And as a result of our first profit downgrade ever, our share price just fell through the floor. And Malcolm will say we all got too fat, too lazy, too focused on ourselves as opposed to the business. And we went back to basics again, as we always do. It's always a circle of life, isn't it?
What could we do to sort of encourage the customers to come in? Because in '96 it was all about customer service. Even Asda were offering dog walkers while you did your shopping and weddings in the shop, and it was getting crazy. And I was thinking, what can we do?
Let's do what's right for us. And we then got back into focusing on the business.
I'm driving home for Christmas. Oh, I can't wait to see those faces. And it's been so long, but I will be there. I sing this song.
So I thought, we'll experiment in Chester with a backpacker. And to make him look different, we had a red jacket and a red baseball cap on. And within a few days, it was like not just packing your bags, but carrying them to your car in the car park. And then thought, do you know what? We should be really stupid. In Chester, it's a trial store. If it loses money, it doesn't matter. We should try new things. So we decided that we'd go even better than that. We'll drive it home for you. We needed a frozen food van. Well, there wasn't such a thing. There's big lorries, but no vans. So we bought a small van, I can't remember what make. We insulated it, put a fridge unit on the front. And we were doing this in the depot at D-side, and I remember a few people were laughing, saying, you know, what are you doing? This is crazy. Well, let's be stupid. We'll say a 10-mile radius, which is impossible. How much are we going to charge? It's free. What's the minimum spend? Oh, really low, 25 quid. Now that is a recipe for bankruptcy. But we launched it anyway to see what would happen. And immediately, the sales in Chester went up 13.5%. Brilliant. But the reality was, it wasn't 10 miles. The average distance was 2. People weren't spending £25, they were spending 40. So it worked. We'll add on a bit more to that. You can order by telephone. So we started printing a list of products in the newspaper adverts and a phone number. And that picked up, and then that developed into a catalogue, order by telephone. And the telephone service evolved into, let's do it online. And by year 2000, we'd got quite a decent size national online grocery business. So we were the first in the world to offer a fully national online grocery service.
See you next week. Thanks very much.
It sounds really simple, but it is just making sure that you don't lose sight of what you are, who you are, and just make what you do better. Don't change it.
Iceland makes it easy for Mum.
problems in this business didn't all start after I'd left.
Believe me, I did not have the idea of putting organic food into Iceland.
3 out of every 4 customers have said that they would like to be able to buy organic frozen vegetables at nil price premium. Can you imagine any other supermarket actually going out and delivering nil price premium organic?
I'd run the business for 30 years. I was sick of frozen foods. I was sick of Iceland. And I just wanted out. So we decided to buy Booker for 2 reasons. One, because there was a real opportunity to continue to grow. Secondly, it got me Stuart Rose. So he came in as chief executive, and I'm going to retire after 30 years. Russell was running riot with his organic adventure. Stuart is chief executive, and he wasn't running the business. He was having lunch in Harry's Bar in London. So nobody's running the business, and in the year 2000, everything started to go wrong. Why do I care? I'm out of here. I'm retiring in March. That's what I thought. Until Stuart dropped the bombshell, told me he was leaving. I said, bloody great.
Things couldn't get worse, or so I thought. That's when I first heard of Bill Grimsey.
So when are we rolling?
Well, he's just finished at Wickes, and before that he worked at Tesco, and he's available. So I got him in for an interview.
Hi, I'm Bill Grimsey.
I interviewed him.
So what can you expect from me? Who's Bill Grimsey?
I gave him the job.
And I believe it's my job to earn your trust.
I thought he was the right man for the job.
Do you think we can become the biggest, the most profitable food group in the UK?
He ruined it.
It is so difficult to do.
Because even though he might be a whiz at juggling the numbers, he couldn't actually run the bloody company.
Today to sing. What's the problem? So I hope that this little bit has cleared up the issue. Does that do it?
The company issued a profits warning in 2001. I was fired. I was investigated for my share sale, and Iceland entered the dark ages.
It was a really traumatic time, you know, not least for Dad, of course. It felt like he'd lost this baby that he created and, you know, been working so hard on Iceland over so many decades. And I remember being at home and seeing him arrive home followed by a van full of all of his office files. You know, it was quite an emotional time. So it was difficult, but I think it's testament to the man in that instead of just sitting down and giving up, he then went on to start a rival frozen food retailer, and he came out fighting.
The 4 years that I'd been away, yeah, the business had just descended into chaos.
Right, Eleanor's just here.
Thankfully, he was useless, and as a result of that, that gave us the ability to come back and grow the business.
I never even went inside in Iceland, but reading the newspapers and following what was going on, it was obvious that the company was going down, down, down and getting into serious trouble. And then I started having people contact me to say, have you thought about going back? And venture capital firms saying, if we buy the business, will you come and run it? And I just did not want to. Gradually, as the share price got down and down and down, and I think when we left it was trading at £1.80, and when I came back it was 25 pence. So when it got down to that sort of level, I thought, well, maybe I should go back. I wanted to get my hands on the books to find out what that Bill Grimsey had been up to. And I thought maybe there was just a chance that we could turn the company round, because it would be a shame if it went bust, and that's the way it was heading. And when you went into the stores, half the light tubes were dead. There's chewing gum on the doormat. Put the prices of products and then the sales go down. So the business was wrecked.
And Malcolm will tell you himself, he was a bit concerned about what we'd find when we came back into this business. Would we come in and could we fix it? Would we just look like, you know, idiots? My view was really simple. I said, Malcolm, here's a business that does nearly £2 billion worth of sales. Its gross profit is X%. If we can't make any money out of that, there's a serious problem. So when we came back, we were no longer a PLC, we were a private business. Yes, we had shareholders to manage, but the mindset was different. It was about how do we grow this business over a period of time. But we knew we had to reduce the bureaucracy and the cost of running the head office. Secondly, we knew that the marketing that Iceland were pushing through wasn't working.
Thank you very much. Now, extras. I'm going to give you 2 years warranty, a year's insurance, a CD player, a baby seat and this sporty number. All free.
This doesn't happen in real life. At Iceland it does! Buy this large bruschetta pizza for $3.99 and get these potato wedges, these garlic baguettes, and this Mars ice cream tub absolutely free! Are we doing a deal or are we doing a deal?
We went back on February the 18th, 2005. It only took us a day to realise, if you'll pardon the French, it was going to be an absolute piece of piss to sort it out, because there wasn't one single part of the business that hadn't been comprehensively screwed up.
And the first thing we did when we came back to the office in particular is have a State of the Nation conference with everybody in the office and told them the truth. This is where it is. You know, most people were shocked in what we said about the performance of the business and how little profit it was making, and we're open and honest about what we had to do. That you're not going to get a pay rise, we are going to have to reduce the head office, we are going to have to make some difficult decisions for this business to survive. And once that's in the open, even though it's difficult for people to accept some of those decisions, there's a reality that we have to move forward.
So what is expected of you? Well, let's start outside. Our customers need to see what we've got to offer. Our windows are a fantastic opportunity to advertise to the people walking past of the potential that we have to offer in the store. We need a window poster in each of the windows.
Clear-cut prices are here to stay.
So that's why mums go to Iceland.
But since 2005 and the couple of years thereafter, we did much, much better than any one of us expected, to be frank.
Look at all this! Oh, makes a change from stick insects and kangaroos.
Iceland sponsors I'm a Celebrity.
Kangaroos?
Well, something big is happening. There's something new, and it's starting to make a huge difference already. The Iceland bonus card has started to appear. Customers love it, store teams love it, and it's on its way to you.
What's this? Dear Sir or Madam, I write to ask you to forward an application form to enable me to apply for a job in Iceland. Well, maybe we'll do that. We bought 50 of them back, 51 actually, from the receiver. It is in appallingly bad condition. I mean, Woolworths has spent no money on maintenance since I left, probably.
People came in at 9 o'clock. They rushed through the gates. It was great.
We thought it would be busy, but I think this is even taking us by surprise. All the tills are open, and it's only 10:30 in the morning, all 6 tills, which is great.
Great. And I'll never shop anywhere else now.
The last 4 years have been fantastic. Sales have grown, profits have grown. We've just transformed Iceland into one of the most successful companies on the high street.
So when we went to Florida, it was just a perfect time to go. Because everybody wants to be successful, they want to feel part of an organisation that is successful and that believes in sharing in that success. And yes, it was expensive, but it didn't matter. So when we were there, it was a celebration. We're Iceland, we're a little retailer from the UK, and we've taken over Disneyland. And we took it over. And I can remember one evening where 1,000 guys dressed in white shirts, walked from one venue to another venue. And Malcolm led it, I was near the front, and I can remember looking back and the hairs on the back of my neck just stood up. I was almost in tears thinking, this is us.
Today that really matters, to know that the company appreciates the work that we do.
Because we try and have fun. Iceland events, I think we spend more per capita on alcohol than any other company in Britain.
Not a lot of other businesses do it the way we do it.
For years we'd enter the best company to work for survey in Britain, and every year we'd be in top 10. Twice we were number 1 and once we were number 2. Think of that, Iceland, voted by its own staff as the best company to work for in Britain.
You'll always be treated right. I actually tell people all the time, oh, go on and get a play online. I know that they'd enjoy it here.
I started with Iceland just over 2.5 years ago as a van driver. I'm now a home delivery supervisor in 2.5 years, so, and enjoying every minute.
One of the questions on the survey that they sent out anonymously to all the staff, how satisfied are you with your rate of pay? We were number 1. So our staff on the checkouts at that time, earning £7-8 an hour or whatever it was at the time, were more happy with their rate of pay than any other company in the survey. Number 2 was Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs, the multimillionaire banking organisation, the guys in there would earn $500,000, maybe $1 million a year in bonuses. They were less happy with their rate of pay than our staff on the frontline checkout.
It's that sense of community, because I live in Brixton and I work in Brixton, so familiar faces come in every day. It's been times I've been on the bus, it's just like, oh, that's that girl from Iceland. It's like that sense of belonging.
Makes you feel proud to work somewhere where everybody thinks it's the best place to be, and it is.
At Iceland, we're proud of what we do best. The best roasts that cook straight from frozen. The best of Greg's bakery favourites, exclusive to Iceland. Generous family meals, such great value. The best desserts, ready in 15 minutes.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Our famous free home delivery.
The best is yet to come.
And the happiest staff around. That's why we've been named the best company to work for. And we just keep getting better. That's why mums go to Iceland.
When we returned in 2005, we had investment from Bauga. They were bankrolled by the Icelandic banks.
We bought the business back from Bauga back in 2012.
When Bauga went bankrupt, the shares fell to the banks, the Icelandic banks. The banks went bankrupt.
The shares fell into the hands of the Icelandic government. In essence, Iceland, the country, owned Iceland, the company, from a majority shareholder point of view, but we were still running the business. The Icelandic government decided they wanted to sell their assets, and part of their assets was Iceland, and we were a very profitable asset because we were still flying. The sales were just going through the roof and profits were going through the roof, so they got the timing just right.
And this is where Brait, Landmark and Lord Kirkham came in to take a stake. My stake was, again, I've forgotten, 15%, I think, something like that. And then eventually Brait bought out the other 2, so Brait became the majority shareholder with 60-odd%.
We had the option as shareholders to take the money and go, because there was plenty of interest from venture capitalists to come in, take the business from us and then do what they wanted to do with it. So we could have walked, but it was our business, it's our house, we built this.
Looked at this store in Trent Vale and it was on a retail park. So there's all the big retailers there, and there's this empty unit, far too big for us. So our property guy had looked at this and thought, we should take it, we do well there, but we'll cut it in half and put a small Iceland shop in there. And I said, do you know what, let's just have a go at doing something different. Let's take the whole unit and see if we can trade from a bigger unit. Well, what we're going to put in it. And what we put in it was the food warehouse, a new type of Iceland.
So we're selling some things that are a lot different you won't normally find in Iceland, like kangaroo meatballs and crocodile burgers, ostrich fillet steak.
Everything's in shelf-ready packaging, so there's no unpacking. I've just got this feeling already that people like it, where they are going out with big baskets, they're picking up expensive products. It seems to be working.
There's lots of ways that we could actually describe corporate culture, but I think maybe the phrase, the way we do things round here, is the best way of describing it.
Richard Kirk, who's back in the business now, was with us in the early days for years, then he left to do other things, and I persuaded him to come back more recently.
That's how to do it. This is Monday morning. That's how to sell eggs. When I first came to Iceland, I was stores director, so I was a retailer, and I think I still am. I can't work it out, sort of 18 years that I was away. So I think I came back as a more rounded person, or I hope so, and also an older one.
But I remember a few years ago, I was chatting to him, and he said, you know, I went in one of your stores the other day, and it hasn't changed in 25 years. And when you think about it, I thought, you know, this is right. The Iceland shops have not changed. Back to the terrazzo floor and metal walls and metal ceilings, they last forever. And how can you make them look any different? The new look that we trialled in Clapham was a huge success, and we've continued to roll that out across the country. The same year, we invested over £2 million in a new purpose-built test kitchen, continuing our commitment to the best quality food.
I think to be a modern retailer, you need the facilities to do great quality and great innovation in food. And that's why we needed this facility.
We've continued to do the right thing with our food and packaging production over many years, usually leading the way in the industry.
What's different about children's favourites at Iceland? They contain no artificial flavouring, colouring or preservative. You'll find good food and good ideas at Iceland.
Monosodium glutamate we banned. I mean, we were the first company to take out mechanically reprocessed meat. That's the sludge that comes off processing beef carcasses that they shove into burgers.
Malcolm started many years ago with trying to ban genetically modified foods. That torch has now been passed on to Richard, and Richard has put a statement in the ground about plastics, about palm oil, poverty as well, and they are all the right things to get behind because they matter to our customers.
Dad has always been an environmentalist, so it's always been a big part of Dad's life and Iceland as well.
And now we're all aware of this, you'll be surprised how much litter you do see. I know it's the council's job to clear it up, and maybe now we can embarrass the council into being a bit more active.
It was groundbreaking 2 years ago, at the start of 2018, when we announced we'd completely eliminate all plastic by the end of 2023 from our own label range. And just like GM 20 years ago, a whole host of industry lobbyists and technical experts lined up and said it's completely impossible and unnecessary. But what's been so heartening, just like GM, is that since that time, everyone else has moved in our direction. Over the last 2 years, we've reduced our plastic footprint by almost 30%. We're actually on track to reduce it next year by another 20%. So we'll have halved our plastic footprint, which everyone told me was impossible when we made our initial announcement. So we're well on track and determined to get to plastic free. And I'm very proud of what Iceland's been able to achieve over the last couple of years. Until such time as the big corporations can prove zero deforestation, I've made the ethical decision for Iceland to say no to palm oil.
Orangutan in my bedroom. Now I do know what to do. I'll fight to save your home and I'll stop you feeling blue. I'll share your story far and wide so others can fight too. Orangutan in my bedroom, I swear it on the stars. The future's not yet written, but I'll make sure it is ours.
Sustainability isn't just about saving the world and plastics or palm oil, it's about doing the right thing for our staff and our customers and our people, and that's how we'll be able to survive for the next 50 years as well.
At home, you cook a chicken casserole, split it in half. You put half in the fridge, half in the freezer. In 10 days' time, which do you want to eat? Well, obviously the one out the freezer, because the one in the fridge has gone off. So why would you go to Waitrose, Sainsbury's or Tesco and buy a chicken casserole out of their chiller cabinet, which might have a 10-day shelf life on it? 'Cause it's full of preservatives. Frozen food isn't. The freshest food is frozen. If you buy fish, you should only buy it from the dockside, from the boat, or from the freezer, because it starts to rot immediately. Same with vegetables. Our frozen vegetables will contain more of those health-giving properties, all the vitamins and minerals, than fresh, because fresh is deteriorating.
Because it's frozen, you can start the day with freshly baked patisserie, like these pain au chocolat. Because it's frozen, for lunch you can enjoy 6-hour slow-cooked bœuf bourguignon in no time at all. And end the day with a rich and creamy crème brûlée. Because it's frozen, we can bring classic continental cuisine to the kitchens of Grande-Bretagne. Iceland, le power de frozen.
And I got my CBE, which is Commander of the British Empire, in '96 or whenever it was. And that's recognised as a certain achievement. And you always wonder in years to come if ever I would get knighted for what I do in business. And then Grimsby came along, and there was all that hoo-ha about goings on at Iceland. I got fired, I was investigated. And you think, well, there's a knighthood out the window. Because, you know, they're very, very, very selective. And as you might know, now you read in the paper, anybody who 10 years ago dodged a bit of income tax, they're crossed off the list. So you think that's gone.
It was amazing to see Prince William sort of cross both shoulders with a sword. We had a lovely day and a very boozy dinner afterwards at the Savoy. We were all very proud. It was a really special moment.
Somehow I managed to rebuild my reputation, and you know, the business has continued to grow and improve, and no doubt one of the things is what we do for charity.
Iceland has always been generous in its support of charities, but there are so many deserving causes. The difficulty has always been deciding how best to give away this money.
The first time we got behind an issue, it was the Peto Institute, who'd found some treatment for children with cerebral palsy. As a result of that, I was invited a year or two later to an event with Princess Diana, because she was a patron of the Peto Institute. We've picked small charities where we can make a difference. We supported, I think, 2 or 3 years running Alderhay Children's Hospital, who treat children with cancer. We got involved in Help for Heroes. This was after the Afghan war. We have our charity week in stores. And by and large, the staff love it because they get dressed up in fancy dress, or they'll be cleaning cars or hiking up Snowdon, they're doing crazy things, and it's good bonding, good fun, good experience. And as a byproduct of that, you raise a bit of money and that goes to charities.
Charity Week is my favourite part of the year. We all get behind it.
There's been sponsored runs like the memory run and things like that. One of the senior supervisors actually had his chest waxed, which raised a lot of money. Everyone came to work in their pyjamas one day. It's just a fun week and all the customers see that, and that's why they want to get involved and donate.
One of the big things that we've been involved with is Alzheimer's. You know, Alzheimer's is a terrible, terrible illness which is hidden away really, because people think it's just a disease for old people. Well, it's not. You know, younger people can get it, and what you maybe don't know is 1 in 3 people in Britain will die of it. Nobody knows what causes it. There's no cure. And the research into finding treatment isn't going anywhere. Because the budget for Alzheimer's research was something like 6 million, where they'd maybe spend 100 million on breast cancer or something. When we got involved and decided to support Alzheimer's, we gave them $1 million the first year and $1 million the second year. Now their budget now of 6 has gone up massively. Part of that's due to us and the awareness that we've created. But one of the things we did when this carrier bag charge came in, we were raising 2 or 3 million a year, which was fantastic, and it all had to go to charity. Well, all other retailers split it up and gave a bit here, a bit there, a bit there, and I'd say it didn't do any good at all. Where we decided we'd give the whole lot to Alzheimer's to try and make a difference. I thought that I should do something myself, so I decided that I would climb Mount Everest, you know, as you do. I got to the North Col, which is at 23,000 feet, Everest is 28, but I just couldn't do any more. It had taken me 6 weeks to get there. Oh, and I abseiled down the Shard.
Tried abseiling yet?
I went off a wooden tower in the children's playground.
Highly irresponsible.
Give us away.
And then stupidly I volunteered to ski to the South Pole, and that nearly killed me. I had to be airlifted out. So my fundraising efforts haven't met with a huge success as far as completion is concerned, but I've raised the money. And actually I have to say that in the 4 years I was away, when the business wasn't making any money, it didn't give anything to charity. Because you can't. If you're not profitable, you can't give it to charity. So, you know, the word profit to some people is a dirty word, but actually without profit there's no tax. Without tax there's no wages for half the population who work for the government, and you can't give to charity.
My favourite thing about Christmas is... wow! A special meal that we share together.
Oh, I thought it might be salad plates. 3 words, perfect Christmas dinner.
For the first time in forever.
Discover the magic of frozen at Iceland.
We're able to cement the future of this business as a family business. And as such, we are now fully owners of the business. No longer a company that we're shareholders in, it's mine and Malcolm's business.
When I say I own the business, or I own half the business, I don't really. My family own it. Now, whether or not the family works in the business is another matter.
This is Richard. Is that good?
When Dad and the team bought Iceland back in 2012. I'd gotten into my 30s by that point, and I qualified as a chartered surveyor in London and then set up property companies in Poland. Felt it was about time to have a go at selling frozen peas for a living. And I said to him, I want to join Iceland. And he said, don't bother. Collect rents, it's easier. And I don't know if that was reverse psychology, but anyway, I persisted and we agreed I would give it a go. We also agreed that the first year I'd work in stores. So I started as a frontline colleague.
And I'm delighted that Richard is in the business and enjoying it.
It's such a legacy, it's such an important business set up by my mum and dad, and so I was very keen to get involved and learn about the business from the bottom up for myself.
We've had lots of ways of describing Iceland, you know, fun, it's a family, it's entrepreneurial, it's go-getting, it's this, it's that, it's the other. And sometimes we could probably get a bit carried away with ourselves trying to come up with a cliche or a statement that says, this is us. You know it's us by simply being in our shops, by being in the office.
It feels like more of a family business, and it feels friendlier, particularly when you're out in stores, I think it does.
Thousands of employees who just love working for us because the parents did and they're doing, and I don't like to say it now, but in some cases the grandparents did.
It's very family orientated, not just for families, but when you're coming in and actually working, you're all a part of a team. To have good food, good customers and a great workforce, I think you're winning.
Well, I met my wife at Iceland's. We've been married for 26 years and we've had 2 sons and they both work for Iceland's.
In 1992, Iceland went on a venture within Littlewood stores, set up the store, and they offered me a position within Iceland. It's now about 26 stores and stores teams that I've led, which has got me to where I am now.
Is there a place for Iceland down the road? Yes, I've just bought the bloody business. You know, if I didn't think there was, if there wasn't, I wouldn't have bloody bought it. Of course there is. And you know what gives me confidence to say there is? It's not the technology that we have for online or the services that we offer for home delivery or our stores. It's our people.
It's our secret weapon as well as to why we've managed to keep the show on the road for 50 years. You know, Iceland, as Dad says, shouldn't exist. We're only 2% of the market, and we're pretty specialists in terms of what we do and our focus on frozen food. But of course we're flourishing. We're now the fastest growing supermarket in the whole retail sector.
I think I've got to the point now where I don't want to work 12 hours a day.
Well, I think you're coming up with me.
Tarzim's got hungrier and hungrier, and he's just gradually picked up more and more. Almost without realising it, I'm semi-retired because I just come into the office now and cause trouble, and Tarzim basically does the day-to-day work, so it's a great arrangement.
So our mindset now is making sure that we create a foundation that allows his business to operate the right way for the next 50 years.
If you'd asked Dad 25 years ago, he wouldn't know what the next 25 years look like. We're a speedboat and we can react very quickly. I've no doubt that we'll be around for the next 50 years. We've never been much for writing down long-term business plans. We just try and do the best we can every day.
Being innovative, and I think, you know, looking now and I look at Iceland and I see what we're doing, and we're doing well, and it's because of innovation.
Our people give me the confidence that we will survive, we will be here 50 years down the line. It's that tenacity, that drive to say we're going to bloody do well out of this, we're going to survive. Because that DNA, that why is Iceland different, you don't have to explain it, it's just there, those people get it.
I've said for years this is the best team that we've ever had, and then 3 years later it's changed and I'm saying this is the best team that but it's true, because they get better and better and better as we can afford better people and encourage better people to come and work for us. And I think now we're just in a great place.
That's everything I needed.
Good.